The perfume market seems to have organically evolved over the years through brand strategists, through online communities and fragrance critics, amongst other things. I guess to get to a point where we have the brand types that we see today. Hello Internet, my name is Kamkhelo B. Chadit. Welcome to my channel. So when I talk about brand types, this is referring to designer perfumes, niche perfumery, dupe perfumery or clones, indies, artisans, so those type of things. I think I was looking for a word or a way to define them, and AI gave me brand types, so that's what I'm running with. If there's another term to refer to this categorization, then please let me know. I am happy to be corrected or to learn something that I did not know. So all of this depends on a brand's strategy and how they want to position themselves. Starting off with designer perfumery. Essentially originated in the 20th century when perfume houses decided that they wanted to start or buy into the perfume business. We have the likes of Louis Vuitton, we have good Gucci, Chanel, Dior, YSL, Versace, and the list goes on and on and on. So basically these are perfumes that are linked to luxury lifestyle brands or, fashion houses. Their core business is not perfumery, but somehow over the years and with them buying into the perfume industry, they've managed to make a core income stream from the perfume business. At the same time, fashion houses or these designer perfumes played a big role in sort of getting the perfume industry expanded or the perfume market expanded. Usually these perfumes are designed for mass appeal, right? So that they have global distribution. This means that a lot of the time the scent of these designer perfumes is not supposed to be polarizing. Angel aside, but yeah, I think the main idea is that they want it to spread or be as popular as possible. So they sort of stick within some sort of boundary when they are formulating these scents. They mostly use perfume houses or perfumers that are employed by perfume houses or fragrance houses for their formulations, and then they just sort of bring in their own packaging and then market that out to the public. So they will normally have strong marketing collaborations. So a lot of the time you will see like sports stars, you will see movie stars or all sorts of celebrity or public figures that are partnering with these brands to market their perfumes or be the face of the perfume. They're also widely available in department stores or retail stores. Yeah, essentially, I guess the idea, the strategy behind this was to make these perfumes sort of an accessible entry point into these brands, because a lot of the time they are quite pricey. With a more affordable perfume, you can sort of own a YSL or a Versace without having spent thousands and thousands and thousands on the fashion products that they sell. And then we have niche perfumes. So the main focus here is artistry, quality and exclusivity of perfumes. So as much as niche houses have existed for years and years and years, like almost the beginning of perfume times, no, I'm lying, that's actually incorrect, much later than that, but the point is they've existed for years. There has been in recent times a revival in demand of niche perfumes. So there are brands in niche perfumery like Penhaligon's and Creed that have existed since the 1800s. Then we have Serge Lutens, Frederic Malle, and the likes that are part of the more modern niche perfumery. So niche perfumes are known for being high quality because a lot of the time they use rare ingredients. They're known for telling an artistic story or artistic storytelling, and they normally have limited distribution and a higher price point. Unlike designer perfumes, these guys get to explore. They get to, test out all sorts of artistic type of storytelling that they want or approaches that they want to perfumery. They have access and they get to use materials that a designer perfume wouldn't use because that would drive up the price of the perfume and make it less mass appealing. So niche guys don't really play within those rules. Some niche houses have branched into perfume and cosmetics and have moved away from being solely perfume houses. An example of this is Galan, which for the longest of time I thought was a luxury brand. Turns out it started out as a perfume brand and then expanded itself. I did not know that. Some have in-house perfumers that they, employ who work on their formulations. Others will go to these fragrance houses that employ perfumers and basically give them a more, liberal type of brief. So you probably would have seen that over the years, niche perfumery has gained popularity and credibility in the market, with people that I guess want to spend a bit more, have a bit more to spend on perfumes, and also want to smell a bit more exclusive. We have shops like Skins Cosmetic, that house these niche brands and offer that type of quality. And then we have indie perfumes. Indie basically means independent, right? So these are houses or perfumes that are owned and operated independently, usually by the founder of the perfume itself or a small team. The perfumer may or might not be the actual owner of the business. Production is normally at a moderate scale, not necessarily small, tiny batches. There's a focus on creative freedom as well, without some corporate constraints. These perfumes can't be experimental, but also can be commercial leaning. So depending on what the actual brand is leaning towards. Essentially, I guess indie perfumes would be like niche perfume. It's, I guess, a subset of niche perfumery, just at a smaller scale. Whereas I guess a lot of the niche perfumes are like bigger brands. And then we have artisanal perfumes. So these are handcrafted perfumes that are focused on the actual maker of the perfume. So in this case, the perfumer is the owner of the brand. Production is normally tiny, like small, localized production. There's emphasis on craftsmanship, traditional methods, and often it's a natural ingredients based brand. You find that a lot of the time, and I mentioned this, the perfumer is the creator of the brand or the perfumes. So they're involved in every step of the way. They, come up with the formulation, they mix it, they test it out, they are involved with packaging and, the logistics of it. So basically everything is dependent on them. Then we have another popular one, made very popular by Middle Eastern brands. That's the dupe type or clone type. So these are affordable imitations of designer or niche scents. So there's brands like Dossier, there's Okcha, there's Zara. And then locally we have the Perfume Gallery, we have Eden that's popped up. There's quite a bit of these inspired by a clone perfume shops that are happening or that are available in South Africa. As mentioned, Arabian brands also tap into the space quite a lot, and therefore sometimes Middle Eastern perfumes is associated with dupe perfumery, which is not always the case. An important note or distinction is that dupes are legal perfumes, right? They are legally inspired by and they're not counterfeits, with the distinction being that counterfeits will operate as the original. So if you have, I'm just thinking of Gucci Intense Oud, a counterfeit will have the exact packaging of Gucci Intense Oud, but obviously the juice within it will not be, from the actual manufacturers. So that would be a counterfeit perfume, whereas a dupe will be inspired by, the DNA and the scent profile of Gucci Intense Oud, but they will have their own packaging, they will have their own sort of distinguish themselves away from the Gucci brand. And a lot of the time, these brands are also very open to say that this is an inspiration of a dupe of, a clone of, just to highlight that there's an association, even though we're not trying to act like we're that perfume, we are just inspired by it. The main focus of dupe perfumery is obviously accessibility and affordability, so giving people the same smell for a fraction of the price. At the same time, dupe perfumes are not made equally or not made the same. One-on-one dupes which try to imitate the original perfume like for like, so they try to be like 100% an imitation or reproduction of that perfume, which is rare, not rare, but it's very hard and not always spot on, especially when you get like niche perfumes that use like patented ingredients or very rare and expensive ingredients, so it becomes a bit tricky there. And then others, they sort of play around with the original perfume. So I take the original Gucci Intense Oud and I try to reimagine it, maybe add a different types of different scents to the original Gucci Intense Oud, to try see if you can make it something new, a flanker of sorts. What you'll also learn if you are not exposed to dupe perfumes is that the price point does not define the quality. Sometimes the dupe perfume is better quality in terms of longevity and the potency of the scent than the original. In the beginning, people were looking down on, you know, some of these brands, but now as we've played in that space and, you know, experimented with different types, we've learned that actually there's quite a lot of good stuff that is produced by dupe brands, which is worth purchasing. So that concludes my list of brand types. Just to sum it all up, there are overlaps here and there. We've seen designer brands release private lines, so in this way they get to play in the niche space. They get to explore more creativity in terms of their formulation, get to explore using rare ingredients or top-notch quality ingredients, and in this way also get some money, I guess, from the niche community. Designer brands and niche brands sometimes will copy a popular scent profile that was defined or was released or created by someone else. In a sense, create their own interpretation of a very popular scent profile. Yeah, Lacombe has a guidance 46. I think it's Lacombe Idol Power, which is a inspiration of guidance 46. It smells similar. I've never smelled guidance 46 myself. I have the Paris Corner dupe, and that smells very similar to the Paris Corner dupe, so I'm assuming because of that it's, you know, it's a similar scent or profile to the guidance 46. That's just one example of a designer brand duping, in a sense, a niche brand. And then we have instances where some of these niche brands are purchased or bought out by designer or fashion houses. This tends to affect their brand strategy a little bit. It leans towards the mass appealing direction, so I guess there's a bit of some restrictions in terms of their creative or artistic freedom in that sense. So yeah, that concludes my video on the brand types that we see out in the market. My collection is made up of the dupe brand type. I think that's defined by my pockets, honestly. What you can afford is what you can afford, and you stick to that. I dabble here and there in the niche and designer stuff, but I think for the most part I've found there's quite a lot of quality within the dupe base, and yeah, I'm comfortable there right now without having to justify insane perfume purchases. Let me know what you prefer, where you are playing in. Yeah, let's have that conversation in the chat below.